I have had a lot of young men email me complaining that they are isolated and lonely in their own homes, in their own country. Young men in this country are feeling lonely and isolated. It is really bad. One guy sent me a video, and he was talking about suicide, homelessness, and the number of men in prison in this country. The number of men in these situations is much higher than women. That guy read a lot of the responses from women, and it was terrible to see them cheering that men are 3 times more likely to commit suicide than women. I understand that good men in this world are avoiding women and saying that this is not right. This attitude is spreading, and this is not surprising. When this attitude spreads, feminists can't just sit there and say that they only care about equality. Ladies, I know this is going to be controversial, and I don't care. I don't know you, and I'm not afraid of you. If a man is here and you want equality, but the only way to get there is to tear him down so you can be equal, then you're not really equal. You're just a parasite. I won't go into this any further. Okay, I know this is going to make me feel agitated and cranky. Men, you're feeling isolated, lonely, and clueless. It seems like it's hard to find a good woman these days. But let me tell you, there are still good women out there. They're here, we see them around, and they're really good, solid, and value themselves and the men around them. They're just harder to find. So what's a guy to do? Look, I'm not a psychologist, but I'm not trained and I'm not okay. I just don't know. Uncle Dwayne, sit down, have a cup of coffee, and smoke a cigar. Say, hey man, I don't know what to do. All I can do is share my perspective, which may or may not help. Speaking of the Perdomo Menso 70, it's the only Perdomo that has disappointed me. I bought a box of these and really like the 70 gauge. Sitting around the house in the evening, it gives me a lot of time to relax. But this cigar is the least enjoyable of the main cigars I've ever smoked. I've had cigars that I don't like. If I didn't like them, I wouldn't have smoked them this morning. But this one just didn't cut it for me. It's a Maduro made in Nicaragua from a great company, everything. But with this one, I'm down to 3 and I haven't had what I call a mustache burner yet. So good that I don't want to put it down, and I'm afraid it's going to burn my mustache. A great cigar, but this one's pretty good, and I like the size. But I mean, I've got a hot spot right here far away from my burn, and I don't know. It's still better than some of the other cigars, but I just wanted to smoke it this morning because of the size. So consider this, folks. You're lonely, you feel isolated, and what's the answer to loneliness? If you are lonely, it is probably because you have not found the right people. People who you can connect with on a physical, emotional, mental, or spiritual level are out there, no matter where you are. This may be harder for some people, and I understand that. Everyone has a different personality, and this can be difficult. For me, I am very comfortable in my own head and can be alone for hours, even days. That is not to say that I have never felt lonely or that I have not felt lonely at times, but it has not been too severe for me. It is not something I cannot deal with. From what I have seen, the most important companion is yourself. Think about it. A companion besides God. If you follow God and believe in Him, there is always a friend who sticks closer than a brother. But when it comes to people, the person who is always there for you is yourself. I think the first thing we have to do is get ourselves to that point. That is where we can feel comfortable with ourselves, trust ourselves, and love ourselves. Only then can we build other relationships that are strong and lasting. We don't necessarily need a companion right now. When God created Adam in the Bible, he looked down and said it wasn't good for man to be alone. So he created Eve. It's not ideal, but it's possible, and sometimes better than the alternative. Ladies, it's better to be alone than with a bad man. But sometimes we choose companions that aren't ideal because, to us, it's still better than the alternative. We need to remember that finding comfort and happiness within ourselves is the most important thing. When we feel good about ourselves, we can build better relationships and choose companions that are truly right for us. The reason we can't face the concept of not having any companions is because we're not comfortable with ourselves as a companion. We don't want to be left alone with ourselves, so we tend to pick up our phones, turn on the TV, or do whatever it takes to avoid facing the reality of being alone with ourselves. Guys, I would say that one of the things I would recommend you to think about and consider is to start working on becoming comfortable with yourself. Take the time to understand and love yourself. Learn to enjoy being alone without feeling lonely or insecure. When you become comfortable with yourself, it becomes easier to build healthy relationships and choose the right companions. Think of yourself as a companion that you feel comfortable with. This may sound unpopular, but if you had a friend who would sit down and spend all their time with you, what kind of person would you want? I want to spend time with someone who is honest and rational. I don't want to be with someone who will lie to me all the time. I want someone who will gently tell me the truth about myself. One of the hardest things to do sometimes is to face the truth about yourself, but it is necessary for personal growth and development. So be the companion you want to have. Be honest, rational, and self-critical. When you can do that with yourself, you will become stronger and more confident. This will help you create healthy and lasting relationships with others. What people need to do is reach a point where they stop lying to themselves and start telling themselves the truth. You have to face the reality of who you are, what you are. No one can tell you that like you can. You need to tell yourself the truth, but in a way that is understanding and forgiving. When you look back on things in your life, you have to accept that they are not the fault of others. Tell yourself the truth, but also forgive yourself. Acknowledge your mistakes, learn from them, and move on. Only when you are honest with yourself and accept yourself for who you are can you move forward and become the best version of yourself. I can't say I don't do it. I can't say that this is why I do it, so that everything will be okay. I mean, everything is okay when you realize that you are human and our whole life is a learning process. So I have to tell myself the truth that, yes, it's not okay. But at the same time, I have to tell myself that, yes, you are human and you did the right thing. You are doing the right thing, and it's okay. It's okay, no matter where you were in the past. What matters is that you are no longer there. Your partner, that is, you, needs to be comfortable telling you that it's okay. Accept and forgive yourself, because that is the only way to move forward with strength and confidence. Yes, being in a bad place and being a bad person is something no one wants, but the important thing is that you're no longer in that place and no longer that person. If you are alone and blaming yourself, you will not want to be alone. If I was sitting here in the evening by a fire with a cup of coffee and a cigar and constantly blaming myself for past failures, I would not want to be alone. Does that make sense? You have to make yourself comfortable with yourself. Remind yourself that you are no longer the person you were and that you have improved. Forgive yourself and accept that failure is part of the learning and growing process. When you can do this, you will become your own best companion. The next thing I want from a partner is encouragement. I want someone who sees the possibilities in the future, who gently nudges and encourages me to get out of the rut, out of the hole, out of the sheepfold, out of the swamp I'm stuck in, to move forward and do better. You want someone who will encourage you. If you don't have someone who will, be that person for yourself. Again, guys, I'm lucky because I have a mother who is always encouraging and supportive. But if you don't have someone like that, learn to encourage yourself. See your possibilities, believe in your future, and gently nudge yourself out of trouble. Be the partner you want, who will always be there and encourage you through every challenge. Okay, I have a mother, which many of you don't have. But at the same time, I have a very comfortable relationship with myself. Sometimes, if you don't have someone like a mother, you're the one you have. You need to motivate yourself. You need to look around and be able to say to yourself, look, I'm not stuck here unless I choose to stay here. I see a lot of people on the channel and they're like, Dwayne, you're out of touch. You don't know what you're doing. Speaking of being out in the country, those of us in the city don't have that opportunity, but I've been to a lot of cities and I've never seen a city that has a big wall around it that doesn't let you out. If you really want to leave, really want to get away from crime, from homelessness, from difficult situations, you can leave. Sometimes I understand that you can't. I'm not completely stupid. Sometimes you can't. But a lot of you can do it more. Motivate yourself. Find a way out of difficult situations. And believe that you can change your life. You can more than you can't. It takes courage and sacrifice. If I was single and living in some of these cities, and I read about the politics, the crime, the homelessness, the cost of living, the cost of rent, the cost of groceries, and the inability to deal with all of this, I would sell everything I could to get enough money to pack a backpack and leave. I would sell my car. I would sell everything. Don't tell me it can't be done. Check out my video where I hitchhiked and took a bus from Tennessee to Cody, Wyoming. I picked up cigarette butts at the campground to buy soup, sandwiches, and a place to stay until I finally got a job. It only paid $350 a month, but it included a room in a motel, and it got me started. Don't tell me it can't be done. It takes courage, and you need a companion who will gently encourage you and give you the courage to take the next step, to do better and become better. If you don't have someone, be that person for yourself. Be the companion who will gently encourage you and give you the courage to face the challenge and move forward. You can overcome any difficulty if you believe in yourself and keep trying. I know, guys, that having the physical aspects of a relationship is a positive thing. We are hardwired to seek those things, but they're not a must. The hell you go through with relationships just to have someone to sleep with every once in a while is not worth destroying your soul and spirit. The important thing is to be your own man. If feminists want to burn their world down around them, let them. You don't have to be in it. You don't need their world and you don't need them. Be your own man, self-motivated and self-developed. Find your own joy and happiness, not dependent on anyone else to make you feel fulfilled. I asked Deanna this morning, if these women had their way, would they go out and pave these highways? Would they climb the highway lines and do this? I'm not saying they can't, but they certainly won't. Will they build sewers? Will they burn down buildings and drag people down ladders on their shoulders? Here and there, some women will. But women generally won't do this, and that's fine. It's their business. They can live their lives as they please. I'm not here to criticize women, but I'm completely fed up with the whole feminist movement destroying young men in this country. No one can destroy you if you don't let them. Don't let them. You're a man. Stand up and do the hard thing. Decide to make sacrifices, make unpopular decisions, and become comfortable with yourself. If you're not the person you're comfortable with being alone with, then that's the only person in this universe you have the full power, the full authority, and the full responsibility to change. Face yourself. Do what it takes to be who you want to be. No one else can do it for you, and you don't need anyone else to feel complete. Stand up, do the hard thing, and be the man you're proud of. I have no right, no desire, and no right to try to change my wife's personality and who she is. I have no right to change anyone but myself. Now, there are people out there that I don't like, and if I don't like them, I just walk away. I'm 55. I've lived without them my whole life. I don't need them now, and I have no right or desire to try to change them. But if I don't like myself, if I'm not comfortable with myself, that's a different story. So self-change doesn't provide all the answers. Maybe it doesn't provide any answers. I don't know. But the mailers, a little encouragement might be all someone needs to get started. If you're not happy with yourself, do something about it. It's your responsibility, and only you can do it. Be the person you'd be proud to look in the mirror. Be the companion you'd want to have, someone who would encourage and support you in every situation. It's not easy, but it's necessary for you to live a full and happy life. There's a little seed, a little step, a little something that you can say, hey, you know what? This helped me. Listen and just be strong. Ladies, I am not criticizing women, but I am criticizing this hateful atheist movement that is destroying the country and destroying the men here. And boys, let me add one more thing. It is human nature. When a pendulum swings too far in one direction, it will correct itself and swing back. This also applies to our lives. When things get tough and you feel lost, remember that just one small step, one small change can make a big difference. Focus on becoming the best version of yourself. Don't let negative movements affect you. Stand firm and be strong. With a little time, a little patience, you will find your way and overcome any challenge. When the pendulum swings too far in one direction, we often react and push it too far in the opposite direction. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Don't react by being the complete opposite. Don't be hateful and demeaning to women. I'm indirectly referring to a former kickboxer now living in Europe who has become a sensation. There are some things he said that are very true, but his pendulum has swung too far in the other direction, and some impressionable young people have taken it that way. We are not at war with women. No matter how some people want to frame this picture, we are not at war with women. Be a warrior in the Garden of Eden. Be strong and be a strong man. Be a good man and let the world rage around you.